Hi, my name is Andy, and I am the Lord of the Books. This is my YouTube channel where I talk to you about the books that interest me, and hopefully I can convince you to be interested in them too. For my first video, I was going to talk about my October book haul. These are the books that I bought in the month of October that I can't wait to read. So, first up, I have the Fayanavar Tapestry. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Fayanavar Tapestry. It's a book by Guy Gavriel Kay. It's about 5 law and medical students from the University of Toronto that get magically transported to a fantasy world where a fallen god is trying to destroy everything. And these 5 characters find out that they are sort of prophesized to come back and save everyone. I have read other books by Guy Gavriel Kay. He's a very good author, but this is his only trilogy that I know of. The rest tend to be standalone novels. These 5 characters find out that they are sort of prophesized to come back and save everyone. I have read other books by Guy Gavriel Kay. He's a very good author, but this is his only trilogy that I know of. The rest tend to be standalone novels. So, The Fine of Our Tapestry. The next book that I bought that I'm interested in is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. This recently got made into a major motion picture. It is a young adult fantasy novel, post-apocalyptic, and it's about a kid named Thomas who wakes up in the middle of a labyrinth with no memory other than just his name. There's a bunch of other kids there too, and anyone that tries to go through the labyrinth always ends up dead. But then events happen where they find out that they have to leave, and it's about their adventures trying to make it out of this labyrinth. Sounds very interesting. I want to read it before I watch the movie. So, The Maze Runner by James Dashner. The next book that I bought is Aristotle and Dante and the Secrets of the Universe. This is a young adult contemporary novel, and it is about 2 loner teenagers who make this friendship that changes their lives, and about them growing up together as oddballs and figuring out how to love life. It has won a ton of awards, as you can see from the cover here. It is by Benjamin Alaire Sands. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, I have heard a ton of really good reviews about this, about it being a great emotional book, a great book talking about the importance of friendships and about growing up, especially being different while growing up. Importance of friendships and about growing up, especially being different while growing up. The next one on my list is 3 Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. This is about 3 women in line to the throne of a fantasy world. But the way it's set up is that each of these 3 women has a magical ability. One of them is poison, one of them is elemental, and one of them is nature. So being able to grow plants, control animals, stuff like that. And only one person become queen. And the way it works is that the other 2, all 3 of them have to fight, and only one can survive. Sort of like a Thunderdome, but with fantasy books. Anyways, as the novel goes on, we find out that it's not necessarily the most powerful that is going to win, but the darkest one. And that not everything is as it seems. So it sounds like a very exciting novel, and I can't wait to start it. The next book that I got is Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I have read his other book, 100 Years of Solitude, before, and he's a really good author with magical realism, which is sort of a literary type of fantasy. And this book talks about love and what it is to mean to love someone. It's about 2 people who fall in love, but the woman marries someone else, and many years later, about them coming back together again. It was originally written in Spanish, and this edition was translated by Edith Grossman. He's a very, very good author. He's won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And I can't wait to read this one as well. The next book that I got is The Secrets of Alchemy by Lawrence Principe. This is a non-fiction book about the history and mechanics of alchemy. I think this is very interesting, especially if you read a lot of fantasy books like I do, to know how alchemy actually works and what is actually happening. And he takes it and looks at sort of the history of science aspect of where alchemy started, how it went, how it transitioned into chemistry, and all the things like that. He also does famous alchemical experiments in his lab, talks about the process of him doing it, and there's pictures in this book showing the different things that he has made. Let me see. Pictures like that, showing his different alchemical experiments that he talks about, and then he does while he's talking about the history of alchemy. The next book that I got is Buffering, Unshared Tales of a Life Fully Loaded by Hannah Hart. Hannah Hart is a YouTuber that has a channel called My Drunk Kitchen. And it is sort of a channel that uses food and cooking as a metaphor to talk about morals in life. And this is her autobiography, where she talks about her life growing up with her faith and her mental health problems, and coming to terms with being a lesbian in a religious society. So she's a great channel. You should go check it out, called My Drunk Kitchen. And she is a great advocate for LGBTQ rights. So I can't wait to read this book. Her channel has always been interesting to me, and it sounds like she has a very good autobiography with a lot of important stories to share. The next ones I got are part of the Best American series. So the Best American series is a group of topics that goes around and checks journals, articles, newspapers to find the best of whatever field that particular Best American series is about. One I got is Best American Science and Writing, 2001 edition by Edward O. Wilson. Each one has a guest editor to pick the articles for the book. Edward O. Wilson is the entomologist curator for Harvard University, and he has written a lot of books about the philosophy of biology. There's two big ones that I know of are The Diversity of Life and On Human Nature. These aren't real scientific articles. These are more like narrative nonfiction articles that you'd find in Discovery or National Geographic that give you an update on important topics and understandings and the changes of science and nature. And the reason I have 2001, even though it's 2016, is because I'm trying to collect the backlog of the ones I haven't read yet. The other two Best American that I got is from the science fiction and fantasy category. This just started last year with 2015 being their first one, and I got 2016 as well. And this is just two guest editors collecting science fiction and fantasy short stories that they consider to be, some of the best in the field, which is I really like because it's hard for me to find good quality short stories. So to get them collected in a book that are all winners in my opinion is really good. The 2015 one, the guest editor was Joe Hill. He's Stephen King's son. Anyways, one of his books called Horns just got made into a movie as well, featuring Daniel Radcliffe. I think you all know who he is. And then the other one, the guest editor, is Karen Joy Fowler. She started the James Tiptree Jr. Award, which is an award that is given out to people who push the understanding of gender in science fiction and fantasy. So those ones are great. They're really short, really easy to read. These are ones I like reading during my lunch break because I can finish a whole story or a whole article in 30 minutes. The next book that I got is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This is sort of a thriller mystery novel, and it follows an investigative journalist who hears about the story of the daughter of a cult horror movie director is found dead in a warehouse, and it's listed as a suicide, but he doesn't think it is. And it's about his adventures trying to figure out what really happened. And what makes this one really unique is that you get to actually see the clues along with the main character. So instead of just following along a narrative, you can take a look at all the clues that he's getting, try to come to your own conclusion, and try and find out your answer too. It looks like a great book, and it is a style with all these clues that I've never seen before, so I'm really excited to read that. And then the next book I got here is called The Book of Water. It's a fantasy novel. This is an older book that's been out for a while now by Marjorie Kellogg. This book has taken me forever to get. There's 4 books in this series. This is book 2. I have the other 3. I've had the other 3 for forever, and it's taken me years to finally get this one. But basically, the series talks about 4 dragons, earth, air, fire, and water, who created the world. And after they create it, they go into slumber to wait the end of the world as we know it. But things start to go drastically wrong way before that happens. And it follows our characters throughout the entire world and throughout time to find the different dragons to try and save the world. The first one is really good, really innovative, and I can't wait to read this one because it means I can read the other ones that I've had forever and haven't been able to get to. So the next book that I got is Temeraire, In the Service of the King by Naomi Novik. This is actually an omnibus edition. It's the first 3 novels in the Temeraire series. And this is basically the Napoleonic Wars with dragons. So it's sort of like an alternate history fantasy book. I read Naomi Novik's standalone novel recently, Uprooted. And that book was so amazing. I loved it so much that I had to go find some more of her other stuff. And she has this big long series, I think it's 9 or 10 books now, called Temeraire. And anyways, I can't wait to get into it. Her ability to create realistic worlds with really good magic is very entrancing. I can't wait. So, and then the last book that I got this month is Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything. And Bill Bryson basically goes around and interviews experts in the field in all forms of things like archaeology and astronomy and stuff like that to give a short history of literally everything, and starting from the Big Bang, going to more modern history and everything in between. He's mainly a travel writer, so he usually writes travelogues. But this is him giving his experience going around the world, talking to these people, and learning the different parts of our past. And so it's part travelogue, part history book, and all kinds of fun. I've read the original one several times, and it's a great book, but this is the special illustrated edition with many great photos to go along with it, and it just gives a whole new experience to reading the book. So I can't wait to read this one, and I know my wife can't wait to read it either. So that is all the books that I got for the month of October. I hope some of those interested you. I can't wait to get into some of them. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. And if you have read any of these books, let me know in the comments. Or if you have other books that you've been excited about that you recently got, let me know too. And remember, if you enjoyed reading it, then it was a good book. Thank you.